peaceful forest, untouched except for a thin trail snaking through the trees and the sound of tires buzzing over the soil. Mountain biking is a sport still in its infancy, yet one that can often become somewhat of a lifestyle for those that try it. But I wonder why we flock to the forests and mountains to hurtle down a rough trail or exert all of our energy on a gruelling ride. The humble bicycle is a machine recognised by most average people. For many, it simply represents a mode of transport, a machine with only one purpose, to take someone from point A to B. However, for a select group of enthusiasts, the bicycle means so much more than that. They give up their spare time to live the comfortable lives we've created for ourselves, to expose themselves to the elements in nature's unforgiving terrain. For them, it is an escape from the reality of day-to-day life and a chance to be free. It is more than just riding a bike. They head to the mountains on a pursuit, a never-ending quest of chasing trails. Canberra, Australia. A city much like any other in the Western world, a hive of activity where humans go about their busy day-to-day lives. When such an amount of humans congregate together, the relaxed lifestyle that may be led in country towns is often pushed aside in the quest for productivity and personal success. Even as the sun sets on the mountains surrounding the metropolis and Mother Nature bids goodnight, the lights come on and the city refuses to sleep. In this bustling hive, the bicycle is just one of the many machines used to cart humans around the urban landscape. However, some of us decide to take the bicycle past the concrete expanses and into the many forests and hills surrounding the city. For these riders, this has become their second home over the years, a place where they can be surrounded by vast environments that humans could never replicate. One such individual is university student Josh. Despite being from the generation that is often associated with the technology obsession and general laziness, Josh still finds the time to retreat to the hills to just ride his bike. For him, the sport has been a part of his life from a young age. Ever since he could ride a bicycle, he has been chasing the feeling of speed and flying through the air that only downhill mountain biking can provide. Over the years, as his skill base grew, the jumps got bigger and the risks got higher. Despite his fair share of injuries, the adrenaline rush on offer has been enough to keep him returning. The buzz of clearing a bigger jump than ever before is unrivaled and hard to achieve in everyday life. Although he has tried numerous other sports, he still keeps coming back to mountain biking to push his limits. Extreme sports are often misunderstood by bystanders and onlookers. For many, they see the risks that people like Josh take as unnecessary and irresponsible. However, for these high sensation seeking individuals, they just have an unexplainable desire for adrenaline that has to be satisfied. They can be compared to warriors in peacetime. With no battles to fight, their pursuit for adrenaline has to go down other avenues. For Josh, the risk is worth the reward. Downhill mountain biking is a sport that has consistently provided him with such thrills and will continue to do so for a long time. Of course, adrenaline seeking isn't the only reason people go mountain biking. After all, even if we enjoy the feeling of the rush, the risk isn't always justifiable. For some, they seek different feelings. For example, the satisfaction of seeing progression in their skills over time. They go riding to further their skill set, but still never forgetting about the good old feeling of fun. This is Robert and David, two teenage brothers who love to ride their bikes. They don't really care where they ride, as they can create their own fun anywhere, from a well-groomed trail to an abandoned warehouse. For them, the sport of mountain biking is simply about expression and making whatever they want of it instead of following rules. Being brothers, they like to push each other and see what is possible on their bikes. For this reason, they understand just as well as anyone that progression will only come from hard work. While the riding they do may look effortless, it certainly hasn't come easy. It takes many hours of practice just to learn one new maneuver, but they still have an eager desire to keep learning. However, this is all balanced with fun, which they have in spades. For them, the forests are their giant sandbox, where they can ride however they please.
Remember when we were just cherubs in our tender skins, waiting patiently for life to begin. But there along the way, something seemed to change. As weeks turned into months, we knew as life caught up, we slowly grew apart and untied our hearts. Remember when we were just cherubs in our tender skins, waiting patiently for life to begin. Ready to suspending trees. Remember when I felt the stinging on my pale skin. I knew that things would never be the same again. Remember when the clouds rolled in and the sunlight dimmed, and what will be blacked out what might have been.
Riding has become an outlet for the boys to test themselves and have fun along the way. For many teenagers growing up, they participate in a regular activity or team sport. Mountain biking serves this purpose for Robert and David. By helping each other learn new skills, it has certainly become more than just an individual hobby, but fun that can be enjoyed and shared with each other. Finally, we meet perhaps the most raw and back to the basics kind of rider. One that is attracted by the simple beauty of nature. Pekka is a 60-year-old school teacher and has been drawn to outdoor activities his whole life. After properly discovering mountain biking 12 years ago, he hasn't been able to put his bike down since. Many of his rides are quick sessions after work before heading home, but this doesn't matter. For him, any chance to retreat to the woods is a win and an opportunity to escape from the stresses of day-to-day life. As he heads into the forest, all other thoughts disappear from his head and he is solely focused on the union between his bike and the trail. The actions and thoughts behind riding become all-consuming as he flows through the forest on a ribbon of dirt. Riding is almost a therapeutic activity for Pekka. For those few minutes, the whole world fades away and he can be at one with the bike. Even at 60 years old, he doesn't show any signs of slowing down. So where does this leave us? What have we learnt from these riders, whose age and backgrounds are as varied as their motives for riding? Well, one thing is clear. For all of them, riding fulfills a hunger for something that is lacking in the hustle and bustle of city life. As our lives become busier and more controlled, perhaps sports like mountain biking are almost essential to us. It gives us a chance to return back to Mother Nature, to the lands that we once used to live off. It allows a raw connection with our great earth, where we can take delight in the fun served up by its hills and contours. Sometimes I wonder if our lives have become too safe, too ordered, too boring. Our attempts at creating a perfect lifestyle have somehow excluded risk, learning and adventure. Perhaps this is why mountain biking has exploded in the last 30 years. We are beginning to realise that we need a bit of spark in our lives. Now you might be wondering how I can be so sure about these assumptions. Well, that's because I'm a mountain biker myself. I have often found myself relying on mountain biking as an escape from the pressures of the world. It takes me back to how life felt as a child, where one can live in the moment and forget about all the responsibilities, schedules and pressures placed on us. To be honest, it doesn't really matter where we ride or how we ride. It doesn't matter how old we are or how much skill we have. All that matters is the feeling we get from riding. The exciting feeling of learning new skills. The feeling of raw fun shared with friends. The feeling of flying as you float, drift, sweep and delve deeper into the path ahead. Will mountain biking just be a passing fad, just a flash in the pan? Or is this just the beginning? Will we continue to explore the mountains and forests? All I know is that as long as I or these other riders live, we'll continue our endeavour, our escape from reality, our quest of chasing trails.